There's something that's inherently human, which is our generosity and our desire to help each other and do something for someone who has less when I have a little bit more. We are here because of each other and we need to care for each other as a people and as a race and as a nation. We're going to try and make it easier for folks that are trying to give either locally or nationally to find the best organizations to give to.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Kamen, your host of Nonprofit on the Rocks and co-founder of Envision Consulting, back again to help your nonprofit not just survive, but also thrive in this holiday season. It's November, which means two things. Number one, you are thinking about Thanksgiving, and number two, you are pretending not to be stressed about Thanksgiving between debating which stuffing to serve, and by the way, no vegetarian stuffing is right. I just want to put that out there. And plotting how to dodge politics at the dinner table. The season really is about giving thanks. And not just grateful that you have that one uncle that isn't coming this year, but a true gratitude for the good things in your life. And we really have so much to be thankful for. So today, we're bringing back someone who knows this nonprofit world inside and out, and that is my friend Michael Thatcher, who is the CEO of Charity Navigator. If you're not familiar with Charity Navigator, it is a great place to go to find ratings on the nonprofits and to make a donation to nonprofits out there. We're going to talk a lot about how the nonprofit sector is a little bit under attack this year, how important it is, how people have responded and risen to meet the needs that we have in this country, and just a little bit more about Thanksgiving and what we are thankful for. So, as you think about going to Thanksgiving this year, just remember that there is truly so much need out there. And if you want to figure out how to give, if you want to figure out how to volunteer, if you want to figure out what to do, this is the show for you. And with that, I welcome you to listen to my interview with Michael Thatcher. Hello, my friend Michael. How are you doing today?
Matt, I'm doing great and I'm really happy to be here.
We
Thank you.
have so much to talk about. Our show last year for Thanksgiving was the highest rated show that our little Nonprofit on the Rocks podcast has had. And so I really wanted you back this year before Thanksgiving to talk about what people can do, what we could be thankful for, where people could give, and just as a reminder of the nonprofit world. So I really appreciate you being here because I want to make this an uplifting show, but our
Mhm.
space right now is not so uplifting. So we're going to do our best to end on a high. Deal?
Excellent. Yeah, I will, and I'll do everything I can to help out with that. And I do think there's a lot to be grateful for and a lot of just positive generosity that's been out there. We've been seeing it.
Yeah, we have. So, in the year since I
Mhm.
interviewed you, I have joined your board, which is crazy because I had always said I would never join a board again, but I did. And I am a huge fan of your organization, of Charity Navigator. So, we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. But since Thanksgiving of last year, we have a new administration. I feel like our industry, the nonprofit industry, has somewhat been under attack. We had a government shutdown. People are giving less. And the trust in nonprofits is lower. As I said, this is a real uplifting show. So I'd love to just start with trust. And I think there was just a poll that came out, and Americans are trusting nonprofits less and less, and it's not great. So, how do we respond to that?
There are a couple of things, right? There's the decline in trust to the nonprofit sector. There's also a reduction in the number of American households that are actually contributing right now to the nonprofit sector, and that's below 50%. And that's been a steady but gradual trend. Part of that is I think there's a disconnect between my donation and the impact I'm trying to see. And we've been working on that. And a lot of people have been working on that to really try to articulate the difference that the donations are making. And then also to help the smaller dollar donors understand that their donation really does make a difference. And I think, I'll sort of start most recent, but then I'd love to go further back to the beginning of the year because a lot happened. But if you look what just happened with the government shutdown and the elimination of the SNAP payments and the fact that there was no food going to people that really needed food, America stepped up. The individual people showed up and everyone was contributing in their own towns, in their own villages, in their own everywhere. We also saw it on Charity Navigator before we even did anything. We didn't put up any special lists. we saw almost a 600% increase in donations to local and regional food banks. So there was a generosity and an outpouring through our giving basket and through people coming to Charity Navigator saying, help me find a food bank in my neighborhood so I can make a difference. We also put together a list. That list, in the first 6 days it was up, there was over a 1,000% increase in donations to the organizations on that list. And so that's just something that on our side, we're going to try and make it easier for folks that are trying to give either locally or nationally to find the best organizations to give to.
I love hearing that people are giving or came in to give more when we needed it. And I think that's awesome. And I do want to talk about the giving basket at Charity Navigator in a bit. But first, again, people really are not trusting us as an industry. And
Mhm.
this is my world. This is your world. This is what we do.
Yeah.
And while I will never say that 100% of our nonprofit organizations do great work, right? We even talked about this last year. We are fundamental to this country. I guess the first question for you is tell us why nonprofits are important. Like, why should people still believe that we should exist?
A couple of thoughts on this, because if you think about daily life in this country, whether it's childcare for one's children, whether it's elder care for one's aging parents, whether it's a shelter, that could be food, homelessness, it could be addiction recovery centers, all of these places that are part of our lives, the libraries, everything, they're all nonprofits. We see them every day. I think we take them for granted to a certain extent. We do think about them when there's sort of a large catastrophe, but in the day-to-day American life, that is the nonprofit sector. And what's challenged right now is that a lot of those entities have also received government funding, and a lot of that government funding has been cut. And so we're moving into a phase, and I think this winter there's going to be some hardship where some of the nonprofits that had the funding that they used to have no longer have it, and they're going to be reducing services. And we're going to see the need in a way that's going to be quite visceral to us that I don't think we have as much in the past. So you asked me, why do I think this is important? Well, I think it's important because it's a over 100-year old system that's been in place and a social contract where many social services have been provided by nonprofits in the United States, and much of that was funded by government. And so that's shifted in the new government that we have right now. There is an ability for people to step up, and they have been, and we're seeing that. But I think ultimately it's about us recognizing that this is inherent to who we are as a people, as is generosity. There's the Americanism of a nonprofit sector that is well over 1 million strong, that's just part of the fabric of day-to-day life. But then there's something that's inherently human, which is our generosity and our desire to help each other and do something for someone who has less when I have a little bit more. And that doesn't mean a lot. Usually the highest points of generosity are the people with the least amount because they get it, right? The opportunity for us is to remember that we are here because of each other and we need to care for each other as a people and as a race and as a nation.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Michael. The thing that's so interesting to me every time I go around the world is like, we're it. We're the only country that has this nonprofit the way
Yeah.
it's set up. And everywhere else, they're called NGOs, right? Non-governmental organizations. And that's just because government takes care of everything everywhere else we go. But here, we need nonprofits to take care of things. And I don't think people realize just
Yeah.
how vital nonprofits are. If I am correct, nonprofits make up 15% of our entire economy in California. It's a huge amount. And
Yeah.
without them, think about how many jobs would be lost, how many services would go away. I'm not trying to preach too much in this show, but I am really sad about what people are saying about nonprofits. And the other thing I just want to say, just in case people don't know this, and maybe you know the number, I don't. The majority of nonprofits in this country have like $0 budgets, right? Like they were founded by one person, they don't have staff, they're taking care of things, they're not wasting money, no one's making money off of it. They're small organizations taking care of a specific need. And I think that's also really important for people to remember.
Again, this is part of just the way the government set things up. It's relatively straightforward to set up a nonprofit that allows people to create something that is mission driven and self-fund it, self-support it, potentially build it into something larger than that. But to your point, the vast majority of nonprofits are tiny. And I would say, there are very few that are actually over $1 million in annual revenue. Very few. The 1.6 million registered charities in the United States. I don't know the exact numbers, but the vast majority are tiny,
Mhm.
absolutely minuscule. And they're providing a service and they're not necessarily draining anything. They're actually helping people out. They're helping out with veterans, they're helping out with children, they're helping out with the elders. When you have a structure and you actually have a legal structure that's been in place for well over 100 years, to discredit that is to discredit us. And I think that's something where I think we need to figure out how are we going to keep caring for each other in a world that still has the legal structures and wants us to be doing that. And so I would say keep going and
Yeah.
individuals keep supporting.
Yeah, agreed. And the last piece is that all of our religious institutions are also nonprofits, every church, every synagogue, everywhere. And so if we lose nonprofits, we also lose those. And the majority
Yeah.
of dollars that people give go to their own religious organizations. Those are nonprofits too. This is a very important industry.
I'm with you 200%.
All right, so Thanksgiving is coming up. So, we're all going to sit around the table, or some of us will. Not everybody is lucky enough to be able to do that, right? But for those of us who, are sitting around the table and are thankful for what they have and want to give back and want to make an impact, tell us about the giving basket. Tell us about how people can find Charity Navigator and how they can make an impact.
Charity Navigator, it's charitynavigator.org. So that's get the URL. We're actually going into our 25th year. So we'll be turning 25 in 2026. The goal was to provide information to help people make more informed choices with their charitable giving. We have ratings and information on over 240,000 nonprofits. We do this for free. We don't charge the nonprofit, we don't charge the donor. We have the full 1.6 million charities that are legally registered on our database, and then a nice search engine that lets you find what you're looking for. We also set things up so if you're looking within specific categories, we're going to help you find that. So if you go to the site and you look at Discover Charities, you're going to see we have Where to Give Now. And these are lists of organizations that are topical to something that's going on today. So, for example, if you go to the Where to Give Now list right now, there's a SNAP support list, and this is food aid for organizations in the country that are actually doing something around helping people get food where funding has been cut. There's also still a list for Hurricane Melissa. That was the most recent hurricane that hit Jamaica, the Caribbean islands. You also have Sudan landslides, ongoing crisis in Gaza and Israel, Ukraine relief and recovery. So these are really topical things that are happening in the world. We also have best charities, and these will be best of breed within specific categories. Breast cancer, charities with the perfect score, cost-effective organizations, U.S. immigration support, public media. These are all different areas where there's an interest, where people have said, I want to support these organizations. We get enough interest, we create a curated list around that. Finally, the one thing I want to, and I will get to the giving basket, we started something a year ago, which was a little over a year ago, which are what we're calling causeway funds. These are issue funds, very much in the spirit of mutual funds, that are set up to help you. Let's say you care about animal welfare, or you want to end hunger, you want to do something about climate change, you want to do something for veterans. The fund is made up of a list of a dozen or so highly rated organizations that are addressing different aspects of that issue so that you are investing in veterans assistance or you're investing in ending homelessness. And it's doing it in the most effective way that we have been able to determine from our ratings, but then also evidence-based approaches to really addressing some of these issues. All of these ways to give, whether it's a specific charity through a list or through one of these funds, you can facilitate that transaction on the Charity Navigator giving basket. You put charities in your basket. Once your basket is as full as you'd like it to be, you go to checkout and you process the transaction and then you're done. And so the giving basket, one of the things that we've found about it, and we've had it, for about 15 years now, is that It helps people with their transactions. The average number of checkouts or charities in a checkout is 3.4. So
Hmm.
basically, you're seeing that people are doing their charitable giving as a one-stop shopping experience on Charity Navigator. And so we're proud to be able to offer that to them and make it just seamless and easier. The other thing that is also unique in this is that about 60% of the donors using our giving basket are giving to a charity for the first time. So as a someone who's running an organization, that's actually really interesting in the sense that this is donor discovery for you. And that new donor information is now available to you to actually process and get information on.
That's so amazing. When people think about giving, or when they think about volunteering, or when they think about how they can get connected to different nonprofits, they just don't know where to go. And so I think this is a really great place. I would love for you to explain to our listener how it is that Charity Navigator evaluates an organization.
Mm.
People can come onto your website and give to wherever. But for those organizations that you have evaluated, how does that work?
So there are a couple of phases to the rating. The first one, to get listed on Charity Navigator, you have to be legally registered with the IRS. The second phase would be your first rating on Charity Navigator. And so we're issuing the rating based on a completed full Form 990, which is the IRS tax form. And we need 3 years of that in order to issue the accountability and financial rating. And that allows us to run some averages. And so that information we have on about 240,000 organizations have been in existence over 3 years and have filed a full Form 990. Then on top of that, there are three other areas that we ask for information on. The most important being impact and measurement, where we're looking at, and this is self-submitted information. So as someone who's running a charity, you go to the website, you find your organization on there, and there'll be a little link up at the top saying, "Is this your charity?" If it's yours, claim it. And then you'll be given access to the nonprofit portal where you can supply additional information to us. You're going to be supplying information on impact and measurement, which is looking at how you measure your own outcomes and how you self-evaluate. So we're looking at how you evaluate yourself. And then in many cases, when we can do this, we're going to look at a cost per outcome assessment of the interventions that you have or your program interventions. That gives the impact and measurement score. We look at what we're calling culture and community. That is looking right now at what are your internal feedback practices for listening to the beneficiaries that you're serving? So a lot of times you'll have organizations very well intentioned that will deliver a program, but they never check in with the people they're serving to see if it's actually helping them or making a difference in their lives. Feedback practices are an essential way of actually closing that loop and ensuring that you're really delivering a good service and you're doing it in a way that's actually culturally and equitably appropriate to the people you're serving. So that's an important piece. The last piece is leadership and adaptability, and that's looking at fairly basic leadership skills. First of all, what's your mission? What are your strategies to achieve that mission? Two other things which I think are interesting is we want to know that you're investing in your leaders. So starving your organization's leadership and not taking care of them and growing their capabilities is actually hurting the overall success and, let's say, health of the organization. So we want to know you invest in your leadership. So ultimately, it's four areas. You have accountability and finance, impact and measurement, culture and community, and leadership and adaptability. And that makes up the Charity Navigator rating.
Wow, that's everything. I wish for-profits were evaluated that way so that we could decide, what to buy and what not to buy. So again, if you go to Charity Navigator and you look at the nonprofits that have gone through the system, they really know what's going on and what to recommend. Definitely a great place to look. So, okay, let's say you can't make a monetary gift, but you still want to volunteer or you want to give something, right? Like, so for Thanksgiving, let's say you can't write a check, but you can buy an extra turkey and donate a turkey to an organization. Is that still something you think that nonprofits rely on?
Very definitely those that are actually supplying food pantries in general rely enormously on donations. And so the thing to do is make sure that you're giving a turkey to someone who can actually receive the turkey and pass it on to someone who needs the turkey. So because sometimes where things can get a little bit funny is particularly in a disaster recovery scenario, people want to give food or they want to give items, and there isn't necessarily the mechanisms to take that. So look locally. You'll find usually in most supermarkets, you're going to find places where you can make food donations. Do that. This is a wonderful time to do that. And I also would highly encourage people to find ways to volunteer. There's no better way to get close to the causes you care about than actually spending time doing something there. And the other really gratifying way of engaging with a nonprofit is to consider joining their board of directors, because then you actually have a voice in the leadership and the governance of the organization, and you can help them be quite successful by doing that. And so it's important to take those steps.
Yes, and coming from somebody who did join a board, it is really important. And by the way, just as like a public service announcement, if you are looking to join a board, you can always come look at Envision Nonprofit. We do help people get connected to nonprofit boards all across the country.
Yeah.
So, Michael, again, this year, this Thanksgiving, it's so important for people to remember that the nonprofit sector, I think, is more important than ever, and that we are really doing the work, and it's really important work, and we're doing it as best that we can. Is there anything else that you would like to leave with our listener on this Thanksgiving before I let you go do more of your important work yourself?
Yeah. There's been the dismantling of US aid over this last year, which was really enabling international aid in a wide variety of countries across the world. There's been a reduction in funding to certain areas that the nonprofit sector are really reliant on. And a lot of that has been budgetarily related and politically related. And the reality is, some of those areas may still be near and dear to your hearts. And the nonprofits that are doing that work, they're still there and they need support. Many have reduced their programs, but they're still engaging. And so the need is still there. The beauty of the nonprofit sector, and I think this is actually really important, is that it is a nonpartisan sector. All sides of the political spectrum support nonprofits and support charities. And this is something that is inherently American. It's not a political move to be supporting the organizations you love and care about. And then lastly, if you think about it, the causes we care about tend to grab us by the heart. And it's impossible not to do something about that. So listen to that voice and find the best vehicle through a nonprofit or other means to actually really make that difference in the world. It's up to you. And I think that's the thing to remember. It's really up to you, and it'll be because of you. We all have a voice and we all have a role to play in supporting the social sector in this country and beyond.
Hmm. I thank you. I could not have in any way said that better myself. And before I let you go, Thanksgiving is happening. We all should really talk about what we're thankful for. Michael, what are you thankful for?
So I would say the thing I'm the most thankful for in this past year is to be where I am at Charity Navigator with the team that I have and the people around me that allow me to play a really active voice in ensuring that we're able to care for each other at scale. Ultimately, the work I do and my purpose is to help people care for each other in ways that they want to. And I am so happy to be doing this work. And it got more important this year. It got really important. And that the urgency and the need for us to be in the game and fully in the game is so real to me right now. So I'm delighted to be where I am, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
I want to just say, if any of the staff at Charity Navigator are listening to this, and we both know we never listen to our bosses, right? You really do have such an amazing team. Everybody there has been incredible for me to work with. And so I just want to call out the entire team at Charity Navigator, especially you. We could not do this without you. And thank you so much for being a guest. I am thankful for you, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Matt.
So, what did you think of our guest, Michael?
Matt, with all the craziness going on, dear Lord, the craziness, doesn't it just make you so grateful for people like Michael? He's running a nonprofit that is there to help nonprofits. Like, talk about doing good times 100. But I'm just so grateful when everything feels so chaotic and out of control, and you're like, who's at the helm? Who's steering this ship? To know that there are people like Michael doing the work, supporting people, and then also so grateful that people, regular people, are stepping up to meet the need.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. I tried really hard not to make this too much of a downer of a show just because it is Thanksgiving and we really want to be happy. But it is so important to remind everybody yet again how vital the nonprofit space is and how we still need to support it and give. And that's why Charity Navigator is so important. And that is why he's just so great. And for those folks who want to learn more, you can always go back and listen to our show last year. It was an hour-long show. He talked a lot more about Charity Navigator and all things nonprofit. So that is something that people can go back to. And what you and I talked about last year, and what is still my favorite thing to talk about, is how we eat leftovers after the Thanksgiving meal. I don't think I could talk about this enough.
I believe it was on this last episode a year ago that you told me about the idea of putting stuffing into a waffle maker to make the bread for the very famous leftover sandwich. Matt, I tried it. It
Mhm.
didn't work. What did I do wrong? It didn't hold up.
I mean, look. I don't know how your chef abilities are in the kitchen because you've never really made me anything. And that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other show, Ashley.
I haven't cooked for you.
How
Yeah.
you haven't cooked for me, how you really don't do that much for me. But yes, you take the stuffing, you put it in the waffle maker. I honestly don't know how it works because, as you know, I am useless in pretty much in every way, and I don't cook. But you put it in the waffle maker, you stuff it with like turkey and cranberry sauce and all the things. And I gotta tell you, oof, that's what I'm thankful for. I am thankful for that stuffing sandwich, Ashley.
Oh my gosh. And I think my tip for people who want to try that, you got to leave it in there for a fair amount of time. Like it's got to get kind of crispy so it holds together. But I don't do a lot of cooking anymore either, Matt, because my 11-year-old is a chef. It's really something. You know, you raise these kids and you put everything into it. And then one day you're like, oh, this is all coming back. It's all worth it because now my kid is cooking for me. Yeah, we need to have you over, Matt. Evan will make you whatever you want to make. He'll use every ingredient in the kitchen and every pot and pan in the cupboards to do it, but he will do it.
I'm in. All right, so for our listener, just to leave them with some very important advice, is there anything, Ashley, that you would like to tell them that they should know going into this Thanksgiving holiday?
I think what I just want to share with everyone is the self-help mantras that I'm giving myself, which is just like, we can do this. We can do hard things. We can get through the holiday season. I'm traveling on a plane and the recent shutdown has impacted things, but we can all just breathe deeply and we can get through this and we can lean in to the attitude of gratitude and we can handle the difficult relatives, the difficult travel, and just be grateful for all that we do have.
I agree. I love that. And it's really important for those of us who have the family or the friends and the meal and the means to be able to do this. We are so lucky. We are so much luckier than the majority of the world who doesn't. And so I am very thankful for the life that I have. I am very thankful for what I get to do. And as a reminder to everybody out there, if you have all those things and you can do that, just remember there are a lot of people who don't. And go online, go to Charity Navigator, go wherever you need to go, go to Google, make a donation, or go volunteer at your local homeless shelter, or bring a turkey to your soup kitchen. Whatever it is that you can do, just remember there are a lot of people out there who need us, who need you. And thank you to everybody in the nonprofit space. We are very thankful for you.
Everyone can remember too that when we feel like things are out of our control or we feel that we're just focusing on the negative, that there is nothing more uplifting than helping someone else.
Well, on that note, Ashley, I am thankful for you and all that you do. And I really hope that folks listen to this and got something out of it.
Me too. And as a reminder to everyone, if you want to learn more about Michael Thatcher and all the great work at Charity Navigator, or if you want to know about everything that Envision Consulting is doing to support nonprofits like yours, you can find us on the web at envisionnonprofit.com or on socials. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.